Orange Weekly, fans, brews, and Broncos news. What is up, Broncos country? Welcome to another edition of Bourbon Broncos No BS. My name is KevDan, and guys, we have a great show for you today, talking about all the post offseason review stuff, and then we'll do a preseason preview of the season. We're going to be all over the place. It's going to be awesome. I got John and David with me, guys. You're going to want to stick around because at the end of the show, we're going to be giving away some pretty crazy predictions and thoughts for this upcoming year. So you're not going to want to miss what our crazy predictions are at the end of the show. With that being said, John, how you doing, man?
What's up, fellas? What is this prediction we're making? I have no idea because
I'm putting you on the spot. I'm giving you an hour to come up with a crazy prediction.
Okay, I just hope I'm not going first.
Well, now you're going to go first.
I really screwed that one up.
And you just from start to finish, your whole process there was.
Are you new to the show?
God, yeah, I need more to drink apparently. But it's good to see you guys. It's been a while, so I'm glad we get to chat today and get filled in on all things Broncos.
Agreed. David, we got you back here, man. Good to see you as well, Mr. Puffball. How's it going, man?
Fantastic, Kev. It's a little hot outside. It's a little warm for Puffball hat and sweater today.
Yeah.
But you either talk about the life or you be about the life. And I have decided to be about the life. And so here we are. The air conditioner is cranked down to 65 and we're feeling good.
Good, man. Good. Well, things are starting to warm up, not just the temperature outside, but, training camp is right around the corner and things are getting exciting.
I know where you were going to go with that for just a second, but okay. Yeah, go ahead.
But before we jump into all the preseason talk and everything, let's rewind the dial a bit because, just not too long ago, Super Bowl was over and we had a long offseason in front of us, right? We didn't even know who the head coach was going to be at the time. But let's just start off. And for everybody watching, put your comments and everything in the chat there so we can, go off of what you want to share and talk about as well. But hey, we ended up trading a first-round pick for Sean Payton. I mean, in your guys' mind, from what you've seen so far, what do you think about that?
I'm thrilled. I'm still thrilled. Put Sean Payton in next to all of the players that we could have drafted at 29 overall or whatever that pick ended up being. And I'm sorry, it's the Hall of Fame head coach every time. And going back to it, I'm still more excited for the future really than even this year. Because, this year might be good. We might see Russell Wilson at 80% of elite Russell Wilson from back in the day or something like that. And that would be really cool. But even if we don't, even if Russell Wilson is just as bad as he was last year, you still got Sean freaking Payton. And you'll have to start over from the quarterback position, but you've got a guy who knows how to coach offense. It's in his blood. It's what he knows how to do. It's what the Broncos team has needed for, you could even say arguably, during the Gary Kubiak years now, he led us to a Super Bowl win, so I can't really slander his offense that much. But still, it's just astounding to me that we've got a guy like Sean Payton right now. Still.
100% agree. Don't know why we have to slam on Gary Kubiak here.
No, I get Gary Kubiak's out here catching strays. That wasn't nice. That wasn't good. Gary Kubiak did a good job.
Well, I know he's watching, and I'm sure he will be writing
my bad note. I'm surprised he's not in the backstage in the green room right now, like webcam ready to go. Our relationship.
Well, he might be if he calls in a few minutes. I'm surprised you refer to him as Gary.
Oh, well, that's our relationship.
Kubiak or coach. Wow.
No.
Okay.
No.
Appropriate.
Nah, forget it.
Gary. You just call him up. Hey, Gary.
We're on that level, guys.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Sean Payton, amazing hire. Who else would have been a better pick out there? I don't see
this year. No one was available.
Anyone that's even close. So like David said, giving up end of the first round pick for the guy. Yes, we keep giving up first round picks like Like we don't want him, but hey, we have one next year, so that's exciting. We can talk about next year's first round pick here in about 9 months. But no, it's great hire. There's no what else is there to say? That's it. You said it all, David. Go on. Move next question.
Awesome.
Or Kevin.
Well, no, look, there's a lot of things that he's been making changes on, other than just what he brings in, of his record and his reputation. The first big thing I think we saw that not a lot of people are talking about, but I'm really intrigued to see what impact it has on the field is him revamping the entire, rehab, medical training facility staff, everything, right? To their offseason training program, and how intense they were working out, everything they can do to get conditioned for the season. Very, very different approach than last year, which was, as we all remember, let's not really do much of anything until week 1, and then we'll see what happens. And we all know how that worked out.
Yeah.
So, man, can you imagine? And the reason I bring this up especially is because Jerry Jeudy even said, him, Cortland Sutton, and Tim Patrick haven't all been on the field together basically since his rookie year, So super exciting for him and for what this team can bring with especially that talent right there, those core wide receivers. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah. I am curious. I mean, we've had the injury bug for the last few seasons. So, I mean, has it just been bad luck? We'll see with this it can't be worse. So changing up how we're approaching things from a health standpoint, it can only go one direction in my mind. So I'm excited for some change there. Also interesting to see how he's approached, the media. And it's kind of been pretty dark coming out of, Broncos headquarters as far as any news. Like last year was the complete opposite. They were giving us all this information. It was a huge media kind of frenzy, with Russell Wilson coming to town and all that stuff. But Sean Payton's like, no, we're going to cut the nonsense and, be all about business. So it'll be interesting to see the difference that's going to make. It doesn't feel gimmicky this year. Looking back, last year, I think we were all just so swept up in the excitement of the Russell Wilson. I mean, I just remember even Hackett standing at the podium going, "It's Russell freaking Wilson, guys. Can you believe it?" Like, I'm like, that's how I would be reacting standing at that podium right there. Like, I'd be fangirling. But all of the constant talk of Russell Wilson in his own office and the pictures and the videos and like him showing up to training camp wearing his own, like a jersey with his own number, and looking back, I'm like, that all just felt so gimmicky, and it's probably just because of how the season turned out. But there's been none of that this year. None of that. Right. No. Sean Payton has totally shut that down. And you can do that gimmicky stuff when you're winning, but as soon as you start losing, then it just looks like a joke, and everyone starts making fun of you, which is what happened for the whole season with Russell Wilson.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now Joey's got a good question here, guys, and I bring that up. Well, now you have. And so I don't know. This to me, this weight loss, these players getting in great shape in the offseason, players being in the best shape of their lives, etc., heading into training camp, and it's a little overrated to me. And all right, we saw a physical difference between Russell Wilson this year and Russell Wilson last year so far. He does look trimmer. What effect I think that will have on his ability to scramble, I don't know. It feels to me like Russell Wilson's ability to escape from plays was not the biggest thing wrong with the offense last year. It was not the biggest thing that was broken with the offense last year. So, I'm skeptical as to how much impact that's really going to have, but it, can't hurt, I guess.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Well, as long as it doesn't make him more injury prone. But...
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Fair enough.
It could hurt. But I think we hear this every season with different players, like, I'm in the best shape of my life, and that's great, and I hope they are. They should be. That's what they're paid to be doing, like to be in the best shape of their life. But I think it's, if anything, it's just something to talk about. Like, what else is there to talk about in sports other than when football's not on? So let's talk about Russell Wilson's weight loss program.
to be also fair, I have never been in the best shape of my life. So I don't want to, I don't know if it's really fair to me casting aspersions on Russell Wilson here.
No,
I was 18, and then I found out about beer, around the 21 age mark, and it just kind of went downhill from there.
But I do want to know with that comment, David, does that mean the best shape you've ever been is in the future if you haven't had it yet? I'm confused.
I don't know. Maybe, probably not. But I definitely haven't hit it yet.
So it's just been a straight line the minute you were born?
Yeah. And well, so it's definitely been a curved line, but yeah.
The best shape of your life was 1 minute out of the womb, huh?
Right, yeah. No, all downhill from there, which is good because for somebody in my kind of shape, downhill, nice and easy.
Good. Hey, for everybody who's joining us, seriously appreciate you tuning into this off-season show. I know we're getting close to training camp, but make sure you're posting your comments and your questions, guys. We're going to get to some pretty crazy predictions at the end of the show, so make sure you stick around for those. They're so crazy that John and David don't even know what they're going to say yet. That's how crazy they are.
Oh, I know what
Only
I'm going to say.
I know. Okay. John doesn't know what he's talking about yet, so I even don't know where this is going to go. You're going to want to make sure you stick around to the end of the show for that.
Gonna get nutty.
Really quick, Clayton, blank comment. We know what that means. Thank you, good sir, for the donation, the stars, for everybody out there. If you want to help us out, lots of ways to help us out here at Orange Weekly. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. If you really, really, really want to help us out, go over to YouTube, and I'll pull up that link here in a little bit. Go over to our YouTube channel, search for Bourbon Broncos No BS, and make sure you subscribe to there. We're pushing out daily content, Broncos videos, shorts, long form videos, all this stuff, funny stuff, serious stuff. Make sure you're checking out our YouTube page, guys. Go follow us there. And then if you want to be like Clayton and donate money to us as well, we're not going to use it for booze, but we're probably going to use it for booze. I'm just kidding. No. Do appreciate your support, though.
I've yet to receive booze.
Right, not a single booze money.
Yeah. It sounds like Kevin's just getting all the booze.
Yeah, really.
I am.
Right.
I am.
I clearly went into the decision to buy that hat. Go ahead.
Well, John, Jared's not here. Jared's not here tonight, so somebody needed to be wearing a funky hat.
I see. I see.
Yes.
Well, you made a choice. Yes. Let's see. What do we got? We got question. Clayton's got some crazy predictions for Russell Wilson. Yes. 4,000 passing yards, 30 touchdowns, 5,000 rushing touchdowns. That would be fairly impressive. Yeah. Some records would be broken for sure. What do you guys think, though? Is a 5,000 rushing touchdown season enough to get you to the Super Bowl?
I think at that point, nothing's stopping you. No. I mean, that's you just touchdown. That's fine. I'm good with it, man. Go for it.
5,000 touchdowns in the 19 games before the Super Bowl and 0 rushing touchdowns during the Super Bowl.
That is a bold prediction.
That would be something to see, wouldn't it?
That would be a thing.
Yeah. All right.
Thanks, Josh. Hey, we wouldn't be doing this if it weren't for people like you tuning in. So glad you're all here.
Also, Kevin just gave you guys the soft sell on following us on YouTube. He said, if you really, really want to help us out, I'm here to once again be the heavy and say, even if you don't want to help us out, go do it anyway. Go like and subscribe to us on YouTube. We deserve it.
Agreed. Forgot we changed the link there, so I'm going to have to change it for you guys.
Preseason for us, too. That's good. Good job, Kevin.
Yep, exactly.
The kinks out right now.
Speaking of Orange Weekly, because I can't type and think at the same time. Nope.
Oh.
Our preseason. Wait.
Hey, Kevin.
There we go. I got it, guys. Our preseason. David's like, this is fuck. David is awesome, and he'll be back momentarily. I think so. For everybody out there, Orange Weekly YouTube page is up there for you guys to go subscribe to, and he's back. Awesome.
I think I'd take the pressure off of Kevin by also doing something foolish, and then we could just kind of clear it from the air and move on.
Starting over.
I like it.
Yes. right now. Welcome in, guys. Thank you so much for joining the Orange Weekly Broadcast Network on another edition of Bourbon, Broncos, and No BS. We've already got questions, guys. We've already got comments from our viewers. Let's dive right in. What do you say?
Well done, David.
You thank you.
No, made that look easy.
Transition. It's a show business term.
I think this is maybe tied to the offseason discussion based off what Clayton is asking, having receivers with over 1,000 yards receiving and, all these rushing yards and stuff based off what we've seen from Coach Payton in the past and what we expect him to bring in here. What are you guys really, truly expecting from this offense? I mean, is it going to be just pound the ball up the middle and tire the defense out and let Russ kind of just bomb the ball down the field? Or where are you guys going with this? John, what do you think?
I would love for at least an average offense that we've been asking for the last 5 years. But it's hard. I mean, looking at this, if the best you can do is look at what the Saints did when Sean Payton was there. They had the big guy. They had Michael Thomas. They always utilized their tight ends, which is interesting considering – who was their tight end? Greg Dulcich can kind of ball as a second-year guy. He could have an amazing season, but there's going to be a lot of guys to throw the ball to. I don't know who's to say that we're going to have two guys with 1,000-yard seasons. We surely have the talent to do that, but we also have a lot of guys that are really talented. So who's getting the ball that's going to have those 1,000 yards? I think Judy for sure would be the first candidate that comes to mind between the three the top three. But aside from him, it could be Surtain or not Surtain. Sorry, it could be Sutton one week. It could be Tim Patrick. It could be this new rookie. Like anyone could have 100 yards any week. So I think it's gonna be hard for any of them to get their stat lines up. But it remains to be seen. David, do you think, this is going to be a 2 wide receiver team? Do you think 2 guys are really going to stand out?
So I think that in an ideal world, you get 2 guys to 1,000 yards and then have like 3 other guys who have 500 plus yards.
Sure.
That's what, my ideal scenario obviously would be. Like you said, though, John, there's just a lot of mouths to feed right now. And I'm not entirely sure. I get the feeling there's a heartbreaking cut or 2 coming to the wide receiver room this August. KJ Hamler is one guy that I am really kind of nervous about because you brought not only Marquez Callaway, a Saints free agent with really good deep speed in, but then you drafted Marvin Mims, who kind of does the same thing. And it's just, a guy who can't stay on the field like Hamler can't. And, you don't want him to see him cut because he's had dynamic plays here. He's played really well for us when he's been on the field. And, he just restructured his deal to have that to take some of the money, guaranteed money away for if he gets injured again. So, hopefully that gives him a better chance. But yeah, it just comes back to that same principle. There's a lot of mouths to feed on this offense. It's going to be tough to shake it out to where 2 guys get 1,000 yards and everybody else also eats,
My other question is, what formation are we running? Are we putting 4 wide receivers on the field every freaking
play? And this is the thing. Sean Payton
2 tight end sets.
Loves to go heavy on the offensive line. He loves the 2 tight end set.
Right.
You've got Dulcich, Okoebanam, and Adam Troutman in there who could all see some serious playing time. It's going to be really fascinating. And this is the other thing. Sean Payton, we talk about Sean Payton as more of a power run kind of guy in his offense, but he's run power, he's run zone, he knows all of the running principles. This offense, as far as its run tenant, will probably do some of both. It's going to be that's the thing. I don't know. Is to answer your larger question, Kev, I really don't know what it's going to look like. It's going to be it feels good to at least have a coach where you say, I don't know, but I trust the process here. It's not like last year where we had, I don't know, but Nathaniel Hackett brought Blake Bortles to that AFC Championship game that one time.
And we got Russell Wilson, so we should have a decent offense.
It'll be fine, right? Nah. So I'm more. Yeah.
But the one tight end you didn't mention is Chris Mannertz, who was just brought in and very clearly a blocking tight end. So he's coming with a mindset here that there's going to be a lot of running. So I don't see how all these guys are going to be able to get fed.
Right.
I think you're going to see a lot of Albert O during the preseason games. They're going to give him a big chance to show why he deserves to be on this team. Because I'm sorry, I think if it's down between him and Manhertz, they're going to say, hey, Alberto, thanks for everything, but we're going to go with the young guy who hasn't had a chance
Troutman.
yet. You know?
Yeah, or even
we'll see. Manhertz
I don't think Manhertz's position's in doubt because of his blocking ability.
Right. He's your sixth offensive lineman, basically. Right. It's I think Troutman is the guy who's really gunning for OWBN's spot at this point.
Okay.
Because Dulcich, I think, is already penned into the roster. I don't think Dulcich is going anywhere.
No. No.
Yeah. And I think Tanner's point here with Tim Patrick, I think it's a really good one because, all you heard all offseason, and you take this for what it's worth. But before Tim Patrick got hurt, you said you kept hearing how much chemistry he was building with Russell Wilson, and we never got to see it on the field, and we will this year. I love Tim Patrick in the Michael Thomas role of kind of the big slot player that can do everything on the field because he's a great run blocker. He can just box guys out on those slant routes, and I'm excited to see what he can do.
And it's not just that he's so talented when it comes to, the blocking and the route running and everything. It's how just consistent he is about when he goes to catch the ball. Like he finds a way to catch that ball. Like, you see a lot. Well, I don't say a lot, but you see these plays that are, wide receivers drop the ball or whatever. And you're like, you're getting paid millions of dollars. That was right in your chest. How could you not catch that? You don't see that from Tim Patrick. And if you do, it's incredibly rare. That's when you're like, dude, you're a human. You're not perfect, but you've gotten everything else. Like we can't be mad at you, So I think the addition of him, everybody is so high on Jerry Jeudy. And don't be wrong, he did a lot of good things at the end of last year. The question for Jerry Jeudy is, can he keep that up? But even more so, can he shine with a healthy Cortland Sutton on the field and Tim Patrick on the field as well that are going to be looking for a reason to pull the defenses, towards them, So. Let's see more comments here. Joey, as a new father, how many games did John watch on DVR? Did you get him watch them all last year, man?
I don't think I missed a live game that I can think of.
There were a couple you could have too.
There were quite a few that I may have almost fallen asleep to. I won't say I actually fell asleep, but I wanted to. Also, Joey, shout out to your previous point. Go Rams, first of all. They will not lose to Air Force this year. That is my bold prediction. But that's all we need to talk about CSU Rams right now. But no, as a new father, my wife was very kind and let me enjoy the Broncos.
As a person who's never gone to a Division I school as far as football goes, I don't even know what this rivalry is even like right now. I mean, I know what it is, but I don't know what it feels like to have your team and then a fan of the other team, and they're like, "Oh, I hate you. I went to this school."
I don't.
Yeah, there's clearly some hate there. You don't have to hide.
John hates the Air Force.
Yeah, clearly. He called it the Chair Force before we came on. I heard him.
He did. Clayton, again, appreciate the donation, man. I do want to bring up this talking point, though. Not only do we have to, we have the players do it again, the no-fly zone and everything, but when it comes to the defense and, are we going to be a, really blitz-heavy team, or what is the defense going to look like? One thing that also happened this offseason is we brought back Vance Joseph as our defensive coordinator. Now, it's not the first time in Broncos history this has happened, where a previous head coach came back as a defensive coordinator, specifically looking at Wade Phillips, who, as we know, helped us win Super Bowl 50. And Vance Joseph is aspiring to that level as well, saying that he's talked to Wade Phillips and what it's like to come back as that role of coordinator and whatnot. Obviously, there was a lot more time between when Wade Phillips was the head coach and defensive coordinator for the Broncos, not just a few years. But I don't know, what do you guys think from from what Vance Joseph's defense can do to this team, and how much improvement we can see from him.
I mean, improvement from Vance Joseph. I've always thought that he's been a pretty damn good defensive coach. Now, offensive coach, head coach, totally different story. But on the defensive side, I'm really not worried about it, which is the complete opposite of where we were at a year ago, right? We had Evero coming in with no defensive coordinator experience that I'm aware of, at least in the NFL. And so that was our biggest concern going into this season last year. Whereas this year, he's got the experience. He's got the head coaching experience. He's got the defensive experience. There's a lot of guys in this locker room that were there the last time he was here, and it doesn't seem like there's any bad blood or anything there. So I don't expect much of a decline in the defense from last year. Now, do I wish that we could have kept Evero? Yeah, he's clearly had things working with who we have on the roster, but it just wasn't in the cards because he didn't want to stay, and the Broncos let him look for other opportunities. So I think the defense, I'm not worried about it at all. It's all about the offense. That's where the biggest question mark is. Yeah. One caveat: I am interested on that number 2 cornerback slot. We talked about the no-fly zone.
See, I have questions. Go ahead. I'm sorry, John. I didn't. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I mean,
well, that's it. And first to answer Tanner's question before I get too heated here, Carolina Panthers is where Ejiro Evero ended up. No. And the Broncos did absolutely the right thing. They could have forced him to stay. He had a contract. He said he didn't want to, and the ownership set a good example when hiring other coaches by letting him seek out his own opportunities. It was the right move, but it stinks. Yeah. Anyway, like you were just saying, questions. I've got questions about this secondary right now outside of Pat Surtain and Justin Simmons. Kareem Jackson, bless him, and he's a fan favorite for a reason. But I think it was pretty clear last year that he kind of lost a step. And I'm not entirely sure that you want him being a guy who plays 80% of the snaps on defense this year. I'm really interested to see what they do at safety, that safety spot. Caden Stearns has always been more of it seems like more of a center field type safety to me, like Justin Simmons. So having them on the field at the same time is not necessarily a bad thing. It's just more overlapping skill sets as opposed to complementary skill sets, I think. And then, like you said, we've got the corner group. Who's locking down that number 2 corner spot? You've got Damari Mathis, who started out rough and played better, I think, certainly as the season went along. And, if he comes into camp, if there's, competition at that spot and he walks away as the clear winner, I'm comfortable with that. Great. Let's roll into the season. That's a good cornerback tandem to me. But, what if Riley Moss comes in and really impresses and causes questions to be answered? Or what if neither of them really puts their name? What if they both have a good day at practice and then a bad day at practice, and it's just that way for the entirety of camp? The inside linebackers, it's Drew Sanders sounds great so far. He sounds incredibly
so far,
right? But is Alex Singleton? Had always been kind of a guy who led the Eagles in tackles before he came to the Broncos last year, but never was oh yeah, this is one of the league's elite linebackers.
Yeah, he definitely didn't get paid. He did not get paid like an top inside linebacker.
Right, and he shouldn't have been because he's not. He played really well last season. And
didn't he have the second most tackles in a season for the Broncos ever?
Something ridiculous. Yeah. And I don't want to call it stat padding, but it's at times it did kind of feel like Alex Singleton was just there making a tackle as opposed to Alex Singleton
supposed to do. What do you want more from him, David?
I guess. All right. Yeah.
I'm surprised. I thought we were on the same page with inside linebacker.
That's the other thing. It doesn't because in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't matter that much at all. The inside linebacker. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Jared's not here, and I don't have to pretend to protect his feelings here. It just doesn't matter that much. Anyway, but interior defensive line. Also, I got I'm intrigued, but I have questions. Zach Allen has had one good season in the NFL, and it was last season under Vance Joseph, which is great.
He got paid.
Yeah, but he got paid, and so now what's that going to look like? Is he going to be a budding star here, or is he just going to be serviceable?
Negativity, David.
Honestly, I'm more optimistic than I am pessimistic about these questions. I really do think the defense is good. I think these players that I'm mentioning, like, oh, maybe they'll be bad, they'll be good. And I think, and
what about Frank Clark? We got Frank Clark.
Frank Clark. It's that area where I'm like, yeah, he might be a good player on the field, but man, I don't know if I like the dude there. The person off the field doesn't thrill me in any way, and so we'll see how the Frank Clark experiment goes. At least you've got Sean Payton. At least you've got a strong head coach to keep a personality that kind of.
Well, one person you didn't mention was DJ Jones, and he had a rock solid season.
I love DJ Jones. You'll never hear me say a bad thing about DJ Jones.
Line and stopping guys. He played up to his contract last year. So let's hope that keeps going.
Give me that 97 all day.
I'm not worried about inside linebacker after last year, and that's going to bite me in the ass, and rightfully so. Jared will have a field day for sure.
Oh, yeah.
I'll tell him you said that.
I was pretty happy with the inside linebacker play. I do think it's important, David.
I don't think it is.
Like any position on the field. But for me, it goes back to cornerback. Damari Mathis, he had a pretty dang good season for a guy that we weren't expecting much out of. He was like going into the season number 4 cornerback, I think. And then he had to step in and play. And I thought for what they asked him to do, he did a good job. But again, he was a rookie last year. He's coming into his second season. Are we really going to expect huge things from him from that number 2 spot? And then same thing with Riley Moss, a rookie, fairground rookie from everything I've heard, exceptional talent and a lot of high upside, but can he lock down that number 2 cornerback slot? We got the number 1 cornerback. He's the number 1 in the league, in my opinion. And we have a very, very, when healthy, good slot cornerback in K'Wan Williams. He played lights out when he was on the field. It's going to come down to health and that number 2 cornerback spot in the secondary for me.
Okay.
And I'm interested to see what kind of scheme Vance Joseph brings. I think he's always run a 3-4 personnel, but I'm interested to see what principles he involves. I saw at least one report this offseason that said he was going to run more of a Fangio-style defense with a 2 high. But that's, is traditionally, I think take this for what it's worth, because I don't know that much about defensive schemes. But I don't know if I don't know if Vance Joseph has ever run like a quarters heavy scheme the way that Vic Fangio does. I don't know if that's ever been in his repertoire. I know he knows how to call that kind of defense because he's a really good defensive play caller, but I'm just not sure, what it's going to look like. I know he knows how to deploy personnel really well because he had an Arizona defense playing, okay, despite the fact that there was almost no talent.
There was no talent.
Arizona was not an amazing defense.
They did not have great players.
That whole organization has not gotten some good press.
Right. But I think we probably signed the best player on their defense in Zach Allen last year. And after that, it's really tough. Anyway, I'm just curious to see what that looks like on the field and what kind of position he puts these players in to succeed.
Yeah. Do you think Zach Allen gets signed here if Vance Joseph isn't the defensive coordinator? I don't know what the relationship. I don't know if he was pulling for him hard or what, but
I haven't
really heard.
I think there was probably some, hey, I can vouch for this guy, or I've already look what I've done with this guy over a year. I can continue to work with him here in Denver and add him. So I think that there was something there. It seems too much of a coincidence for it to not be. But
that doesn't sound like complete speculation at all there, Kevin. So that sounds good.
Well, if you want a little speculation, I'll say that he probably didn't get the kind of money that he got just from being a Vance Joseph guy. Like, you'd have to go to Sean Payton / George Payton and say, this is the guy's tape. This is the money that he's worth. And they'd have to agree with that. So... Yeah, but again, it probably didn't hurt. He might have started that conversation at least.
Sure. So now that we kind of talked about those things, I think it's a good time to transition into a off-season review and looking into now the preseason and looking ahead as well. So, David, you posed a good question to the group before the show started, and we'll go and start with that. And I'll hand it over to you with this is what position group battles are you most excited about going into training camp here?
Well, and we kind of previewed it a little bit earlier, teased it, if you will. Another industry term for all you aspiring podcasters out there. Yeah, nailing it. So it's tight end. Like we were talking about earlier. Of course, it's
gonna be tight end.
Yeah, obviously. But it's like we were talking about. You've got Albert O. You've got Adam Troutman, who they traded for this year to get. You've got obviously Greg Dulcich, last year's second round pick, who looks like a star in the making so far. And you've got to kind of see how they fit into the Sean Payton scheme. Greg Dulcich, I think, is the easiest to fit because Sean Payton actually deigned to tell us something about what he planned to do with Greg Dulcich, which actually might mean that it won't happen. But he talked about him using him in this Joker role, right? Lining him up all over the offensive formation, in the backfield, at wide receiver spots, at a tight end spot, just looking for a favorable matchup, looking to get him on a linebacker or a less athletic player than he is so that he can go out there and make a play. And that's what I think you're really going to see him do this season. I think that's going to be his role. I think you've got, obviously, Chris Manhertz in there as your blocking tight end. Pencil that in. So then what do you do with Adam Troutman, again, who you traded for, and Albert Okwuegbunam, who is going in, I think, to the last year of his rookie deal, and has shown this and that, has also been in the doghouse with certain coaching staffs. There's going to be an odd man out in that group. I don't know if the Broncos carry all four of those dudes onto the regular season roster, and I'm really interested to see how that shakes out.
I agree. I don't think they do. I think if I have to pick of those four, I think three are making the team. I think the odd man out, unless he just knocks out of the park this preseason, is Albert O.
I think you guys were right. We're going to see him deep into third quarters of preseason games or fourth quarters at this point.
And I think they're going to target him a good bit. Just see what he can do.
Mm-hmm. And that just comes from last year alone. Going into the season, we're like, hey, this guy, he's got the speed, he's got this raw ability, but is he going to be able to put it together? And he didn't, unfortunately, until it was way too late in the season. I think he had his first touchdown in the last game, but he was sitting on the practice squad a lot of last season and on the inactive list on game day. So they weren't utilizing him. Before that, though, we were talking about him and Noah Fant being one of an amazing top two tight end combination in the league, and that just never panned out.
Never happened.
No. But the ability's there, the talent is there. Let me rephrase that: the speed and the size and all that's there. It's just can you actually play the position?
Right.
Yeah, kind of an important aspect.
Yep, agreed. So is that your answer too, John?
No. I'm just hitting on David's points, but. For me, it's pretty easy, and we already talked a ton about it. It's wide receiver, so we don't have to talk about that too much. But I am curious. You don't draft a guy in the second round to be your number 4 wide receiver.
Trade up to draft him in the second round.
We're going with a 4 wide receiver set every play. That guy's got to get on the field too. So I'm curious if – I don't think Judy's getting cut or traded this offseason. So is Pat Surtain? God, I keep that second time I've done that. A little counter here. Is Cortland Sutton or Tim Patrick, are they getting traded? Are they making this roster with the depth we have at wide receiver?
Well, I think they're going to make the roster. I don't think there's going to be, barring any injuries from other teams, that might all of a sudden be in the need for a wide receiver 1 or 2 that are going to make a desperate trade. I think maybe near the trade deadline, you'd see us move one of those guys, because if you all didn't see the report, the Broncos have $44 million tied up in the wide receiver room, which is the most in the NFL.
Yeah. And again, the talent's there. It's the health that's been the issue. Maybe we are keeping all these guys because of that health factor.
Right.
It just seems crazy.
It could be a great
second round pick that is going to be our number 4 wide receiver.
Yeah.
A guy we traded up for as well, not just a second round pick. Like they went up and they got him.
Yep.
I think the odd man out is KJ Hamler, like we've kind of talked about. Does not spell good things for him. It is a very crowded room. So since we've already talked so much about wide receivers, I'm curious what running back looks like. Is Javonte Williams as healthy as he says he is? Because that's the only reason to me why we are going in with Perrine as our number 2 running back to start the season with a guy that missed most of last season coming back from injury.
Well, and so Perrine, and I think Perrine, the plan is not to have him be any kind of like even a 1B back. I mean, I think he'll be there on third downs because he's an incredible pass blocker. I think that he'll be more like a 1C type of back. But I don't know that you'll see him necessarily taking on a big share of carries.
I agree.
And so that leads me to, either everything that we're hearing about Javonte Williams as far as optimism goes is true, and he really will be ready for training camp and week 1, or they actually do like, Tyler Batty, Jaleel McLaughlin, these players that are incredibly young who I have never heard of. And, again, I think that's going to come down to preseason. I think we've got, in a month, boy, it feels like it's going to be a long month, but it's only 1 month away now, guys. We'll see kind of what the order of that room is and how that shakes out. And, I think if they had the cap space to be a little bit more luxurious and be a little bit more free with their spending, I think you'd have seen them go after a guy like Dalvin Cook by now. But
I don't think that's happening.
No, I don't think it is at this point. Everything, as there's been limited chatter about it, as there's been limited chatter about everything that comes out of camp. But they seem to like the young guys in the room. They seem to think Javonte Williams will be ready. That's what I got.
That's the position that scares me the most with health, because I don't see that number 2 guy in that room.
Well, and especially considering all the moves that we talked about them making, signing Mike McGlinchey, Ben Powers, and Chris Manhertz, and like telegraphing to the entire world, we want to run the ball.
Yeah.
I mean,
the only thing I can say, like, there are a lot of very, very serviceable, good veterans out there that are available. The league has decided running back is just a position that anyone can play, it seems like, and they're not going to pay these guys.
They won't.
So it's not going to take much money to get someone in there, middle of training camp if it's not looking the way they want it to. I think that's the one position, that and cornerback, that I could see, us picking up some guys that get taken off teams on cut day. I think those are the 2 positions that would not surprise me if we're picking up guys there.
Now, with this, Coach Payton did say, we're going to see a lot of the starters playing and being very active in preseason. Do you expect to see much, if anything, from Javonte Williams in those games, other than maybe a couple snaps?
Yeah, I can't. I don't know. I'm really hesitant with him. I love him.
That's the thing. You're coach for a day. What do you do? What do you do, man?
God.
I trust the medical reports.
Yeah,
is what I do.
Yeah,
honestly. I say, if they say like he is full go, like he can do all of it right now, put him in. You put him in, get him contact early, get him hit in the preseason, and let him get used to it. But if the medical reports say you hold him out, then don't you let him.
Well, they're not going to do that preseason. There's no reason to tempt fate there in the preseason.
No,
I do like the idea of getting him on the field, getting him some contact, working his way back in. He sounds confident.
Mm-hmm.
He sounds like he's ready, which is, he just came out yesterday and kind of
this week
comments, which was the first time I think we really heard the Broncos have been confident with him all off season, but this is the first time that he really came out and was hyping himself up. So, man, I hope he's just that guy that we want him to be, that every down back and just total stud.
Yeah.
Guys,
and I think he knows that even. Sorry, go for it.
No, I was going to respond to Joey's comment, so don't let me derail it. Go ahead.
Go for it, because I do like Joey's comment.
As somebody who's who went to school in Greeley and has been in Greeley during summers, I can't disagree with this point strongly enough.
You mean as you're sitting there in the 9500 degree weather,
just
humid breathing,
too,
sweating, and humid, and just
you're like,
breathing
why is
in
it humid?
the smell, the greasy smell, as you're like,
it's just
right?
awful.
Is that what you want?
Oh, it's just awful. And yeah, I've been in those dorms too. I was in the oldest dorm on campus my first year there, and boy, it's small. And there's some big men out there. Let them sleep in a bed. They won't play any better, any worse. All right, let's not get out of hand here. Anyway, Kevin, I knew this was going to happen. I totally derailed your point. Okay, well, I'll keep going.
Kevin gave you the
yeah, no, that in the industry, guys, this means keep going. You guys are learning a lot of behind the scenes stuff tonight. Anyway,
there's a vacuum going on in that house.
Really, I don't. Yeah, something was happening in there.
It's preseason for us, David. I'm gonna say that on every show until the season's here, and then probably halfway through the season.
Right. Well, so we didn't get Kev's answer as to a position group that he thinks.
Okay, how about this? Here's another interesting one. Do you feel confident at Jared Stidham as our backup quarterback?
I mean, all right. Listen,
you seem confident. You do seem confident.
I don't care.
Yeah.
And here's the thing.
Okay.
Here's why. Because you paid Jared Stidham a lot of money. All right. I don't think the fact that we paid Jarrett Stidham the amount of money that we paid Jarrett Stidham stopped the Broncos from doing other things that they wanted to do this offseason. And I don't think that if you have to play Jarrett Stidham for an extended amount of time, it matters anyway. So that's why I don't care. Like, right. I'm not sure if
I gotta get the hint, David. It was a bad question.
No, it was a great question. It's just my point is that I don't know if the Broncos are actually going to compete for a playoff spot, but they seem to. I think their moves.
Where's the optimism?
But their moves indicate that they think they are this season. I think they're all in on at least trying to compete for a playoff spot this season, which means if that's the case and your starting quarterback goes down for an extended period of time, I don't think it really matters who your backup quarterback is.
No.
Yes. Unless you're the 49ers who just have like 3 quarterbacks that apparently can win them games.
Right. But I mean, they've got Kyle Shanahan, but we have Sean Payton.
Exactly.
So
we have Sean Payton. So maybe now we can understand what that magic is and, see it work in our favor,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think we could win a game or two with Stidham in there at QB.
A game or two?
It's not more than that, though.
Right.
I hope we're not like going half the season with him. Yeah, then 100% I agree with you. That's true with minus the 49ers, every team in the NFL.
That's my wider point. Yeah, like if you're counting on him to win 1 or 2 games, I guess he could. 4 or 5, you're not. Yeah, that's not a position you want to be in. We should go back, I think, and have a talk about KJ Hamler a little bit because this is the most frequent comment that we're getting. And
I love the guy, and you just can't stay healthy. And the Broncos have so much. We're just going to talk about wide receiver depth.
Yeah,
no,
I know.
In the face, like he's just to me, he's the number 5 guy right now. And hey, tough. if all 5 of these guys are on the roster, that's good news from a health perspective, right? It's just another person in case he goes down. But and if his contract makes sense and we keep him, great. Like I don't think we're losing out on anybody else. I think if we're keeping him, we're probably not keeping Marquez Callaway. I think it's going to be 1 or 2 of those guys, and that's fine. I think.
Right. Yeah. That's
they have that kind of similar deep threat supposed role, but also Mims. Mims is supposed to be that deep threat guy. He came in and is an immediate replacement for KJ Hamler for what he can do on the field.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm not entirely sure Hamler or Callaway are safe.
Yeah.
And I know, Hamler restructured his deal, I think, to take away some of his guaranteed money and make it contingent on, games played. But still, guys, I don't know. We're all on the same page as wanting to see him do well this year. We're all on the same page as far as we'd love to see him be healthy, make the team, and go out there and have 1,000 yards. It's just it's not the coaching staff that drafted him. It's a coaching staff that brought in 2 players that does what KJ Hamler does, and one of them is a really high draft pick that you traded up for. It's just there's writing on the wall here, guys. It's not, and it may not be good.
Watch, he's gonna make us all eat it. We're gonna have 2 1,000-yard wide receivers, and one of them's KJ Hamlin.
Yeah,
right.
Well, I don't think anyone's making that prediction these days.
No,
I will gladly eat crow on camera if that happens. Be like, yep, I was wrong. Gladly, I was wrong.
Perfectly happy to be wrong on that one.
Yeah. I will say he's probably another player like Albert O, who will see a lot of run in training or in preseason if he's healthy enough to go.
Yeah, but yeah, atop from the top 4 wide receivers, you have Hinton. I mean, he's just a legend already in Broncos country. You have Jordan Humphrey, who they'd signed, right?
Lil Jordan,
Brandon Johnson, he played. So I see him more as a probably practice squad guy, but he's got talent. He could fight for a roster spot. There's just a lot of depth behind the top 4 too to make this roster. And Montreal Washington, who is our lone kick returner, right?
Well, see, that's the thing. Who did they draft this year? Because they drafted somebody who was basically return guy.
What's his name? I know you're not talking about.
Was Mims? I think Mims did returns. Now that I'm thinking of it. Yeah, it's Mims.
Okay,
Mims
so
was the big return guy
from Washington. I don't think Washington did enough last year as a kick returner to say we need him to make the roster.
He flashed in preseason, and then after that, he never. He didn't screw up. There weren't a ton of drops, in
no, he just doesn't have any weight.
Exactly
when he got out there and you saw these players coming at him. If if one guy gets a hand on him, he's going down. He just doesn't weigh anything. He's fast, he's shifty, but it takes a sneeze to just knock him over a little bit.
Right.
I hope he's watching this, David. I hope he shows you.
I hope so.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. He's going to catch me, but what's he going to do when he gets here?
I would watch that.
Yeah, no, I bet you.
I would too.
I would. Yeah, no, I would be like, dude, why'd you say that?
Speaking of watching that, hey, I do have some announcements for everyone out there. We are returning in about a month. So the first Tuesday after the first preseason game, we will be live for our Bourbon Broncos and OBS show, 7 p.m. Mountain Time, and we'll be doing Tuesday shows from there on out. So it'll be our preseason as well as we work through some kinks. You can tell we're trying some different backgrounds or messing with the music and all that stuff. I keep screwing things up on my side. So you guys can check us out. We'll be back on August 15th at 7 p.m. Mountain Time is the next show we'll be back for. And then we're back every Tuesday after that, and we're in the full swing of things. So also, like I said earlier, guys, if you want to help us out, please go to our YouTube link, which is down below, scrolling across the screen. Or you can just search Bourbon Broncos and OBS on YouTube and make sure you hit that subscribe button. We're sitting at 250 finally. Woohoo! Let's get to 300 here, guys, and keep that page growing. Daily video content for you guys. It's not the fun stuff. You're going to have to go to our OnlyFans for that. I think Jared's calendar is coming out soon for next year if you guys want to purchase that.
Again.
But if you want some regular Broncos content, some funny stuff, some news, some updates, reactions, make sure you go to our YouTube page there and check that out. Tanner, appreciate that. Yeah, no, you guys are fantastic for all the great comments and stuff. We have a few more things here to go over with you guys, but we do miss you all, Broncos country, and glad to be doing this and going into our 7th season here. So, I did talk about at the beginning of the show. I think it's some time for this. What crazy predictions do you guys have for this upcoming season? John, you very nicely offered to go first. So I'm going to hand it over to you.
So if we're just doing a rehash of that, I mean, I'm sticking with my bold prediction. All right.
Which is what?
We have the offensive coach, right?
Okay.
We said this last year, but we have a legitimate offensive head coach now. Russell Wilson, comeback player of the year. It's happening. Get ready for it. Everyone's down on the Broncos, and that's fine. We were polar opposites from where we were at last year as far as expectations, and people were saying Super Bowl, but I'm calling it Russell Wilson, comeback player of the year.
Question is, does Ayla agree with you? And Ayla, I'm so glad to see you posting here. Glad to
get you on the show here soon. Make sure everybody's gelling.
Yes. Yeah. Oh yeah. It's all about the gelling for sure. Now, interesting that you bring that up because DraftKings and a bunch of these places are slowly, coming out with some odds on things for the season and stuff. And one of them is comeback player of the year. Do you know what the odds are for Russell Wilson?
But, now I have to put my money where my mouth is and go make that bet after this. But wait, don't tell me. I'm gonna guess. You have it up. You know the answer?
Yes, I know the answer. Go for it.
Plus 1,500.
Give me plus 4,000.
Boom! There it is.
Yeah. That's not terrible odds, y'all. That's not terrible odds at all.
Who is? I'll give you this one. Who is favorited to be comeback player of the year?
Aaron Rodgers.
What would you say?
Aaron Rodgers.
Oh,
no, not Rodgers.
I kind of want to say Damar Hamlin. No.
Yes, it is Hamlin. It is Hamlin. Yep.
Nice. Oh, yeah. No, that's
the guy that died on the field.
Died on the field for a minute. Yeah. No, if he gets like 4 sacks and an interception, I
feel like
that's kind of thing like
category, and taking him out of the equation because.
Like best player
who's died, he's getting comeback player of the year.
Right. Best player who died last year. Let's absolutely Damar Hamlin every single time.
Hard to beat that as comeback player.
Yeah.
It's almost like does he just have to go out there for like a play or two?
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, he's dead on the field. I mean, it's kind of like sorry for anybody else who's trying it for this year, but you're not getting it this year.
Hard to be more comeback player than dying on the field than playing.
No. Plus, you got the argument of should the comeback player of the year be somebody who was coming back from an injury last year and missed a lot of playing time and had a really extensive rehab, or somebody who was just bad last year. Yeah. Like, should Russell Wilson really be considered for it? Because last year he was just bad. There wasn't like an injury.
Yeah, they've done that before, though. They've given it to.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's not that he was just bad. He was so bad that I think
offense bad.
Like if he gets 4,500 passing yards, 30 touchdowns, and another 10 rushing touchdowns. I think he's definitely in the conversation.
For sure. He's
going to have to be a top 5 quarterback to.
Oh yeah. Top 10.
That's a
top 5 would be seriously considered.
I'd throw in top 10.
You think top 10 gets him in there?
He was so bad last year.
It would be a big turnaround. I'll be happy with a top 10 finish if he doesn't win that.
Right. Yeah. Either way.
Is that better than because once the offseason started, Russell Wilson went he went on vacation, he went wherever he went. What about Javonte Williams? He didn't have a fun offseason.
It's true.
He was rehabbing all season. He was, and then working out, rehab workout. He wasn't hanging out.
Hey, that's not a bad point.
I'm just saying.
Point, Kevin.
I'm not trying to. I'm just saying. This award is funny in how it's perceived every single year. And this year's going to be very different as well.
With how they're hyping up Javonte Williams, he might be the better pick for Broncos players for that award.
I think his odds are 2,000 plus 2,000.
Oh, that's okay.
His are plus 2,000.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, but he did make the list. So, okay, coming up.
Time for my
go for it, David.
Crazy prediction. You were just ready to let me off the hook.
I know.
I think that we trade both Jerry Jeudy and Courtland Sutton to the Indianapolis Colts for Quentin Nelson. You kick him out to guard. You kick Quinn Miners into center. You have one of the biggest, beefiest offensive lines in the NFL, and you just wreck dudes. And it doesn't matter if you're running power or zone up front on your run scheme, because none of the defensive line or linebackers are going to be on their feet by the time the play is over anyway. And you just destroy people. That's what I got.
And with one sweep of the hand, David took our strongest position and just shat on it. And Williams is our clear-cut number 2, which is fine. And Hamler is our back to our number 3.
Back to number 3, baby.
And Patrick's number 1? Okay.
I mean, look, if anybody's got a number 1 type receiver body on this Broncos roster and it's not Courtland Sutton, it's Tim Patrick. All right?
Well, Tim Patrick's wide receiver 1, unofficially. But
in that scenario, you are saying it right now that he's
in general, he's going to be wide receiver 3 on paper, but in general, especially when you get to the red zone, Tim Patrick is our wide receiver 1.
And then you've got Greg Dulcich out there being Jimmy Graham, and you just do it, okay? You just do it.
I don't think that's going to happen, dude.
No, but I was asked for a crazy prediction. I was asked for a crazy prediction, and I gave you one.
I didn't say a realistic crazy prediction. I just said crazy prediction. Crazy with a K. Crazy.
But honestly, think about that, David. That trade package might be right to get Nelson.
Yeah. I don't know how the Colts value wide receivers. They've got Anthony Richardson. They've got the young quarterback there who can make plays with his legs, which says to me your resources are better spent at playmaker than they are at star offensive lineman if you're the Colts GM. But there's a reason that I'm not an NFL GM. So
that's basically it, though. That's like the one reason, right?
It's only one. That one, basically. Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. Thank you.
So close.
Well, guys, we are at an hour. I think it's time for us to go ahead.
Oh, what's your bold prediction? You don't get out of this, Kevin.
No. No.
I don't want to. You're gonna like this. You're gonna like this though.
Is it kicker related?
No, it is not kicker related.
Okay.
The Broncos in 2023 are going to win in week 1 and week 18. Okay. They're going to beat the Chargers twice, and they're going to beat the Chiefs twice. You're going to sweep AFC West. We're going to sweep the AFC West. Chargers week 1, week 8, or not Chargers, Raiders week 1, week 18, Chargers twice, and then the Chiefs. We're going to surprise everybody on that Thursday night football game in Arrowhead, and then we're going to turn around 2 weeks later. We're going to do it in Denver as well. So
6-0 in the division. You guys heard it here first.
Yep. I didn't say realistic. I just said crazy.
Yeah, I don't know which one of your guys' predictions is crazier.
Well, really, that just means that your prediction was too sane.
Mine sounds lame now.
You gotta step up your crazy next time.
Sounds lame when I said Russell Wilson's gonna be a top 5 quarterback.
There it is.
Well, guys, I do really appreciate you being here. Everyone who's been watching, you guys have been fantastic with the comments and stuff. I know it's tough going right now. There's not a lot to talk about. It's a lot of recap and crazy predictions and what do we think and stuff. But guys, in just about 2.5 weeks, almost 2 weeks, the Broncos will be starting training camp. And then the first preseason game will be here before you know it. Then at the end of August, they have the preseason game in Denver. And then the Raiders are coming to town. And it's time to freaking beat the Raiders. And so It is time to get excited for that. Like I said, make sure if you want to see some funny content, making fun of the Raiders and just getting pumped for the season, you go down and you check out our Orange Weekly YouTube page below. Make sure you do that. Kat, how you doing? Go Broncos. Glad you're here. Clayton, Jerry, we need to get you on
Team Puffball, Jerry.
We need to get you Team Visor, man. But
Jerry's loyal. Jerry would never. No.
And Ayla and Sean and everybody else that I haven't mentioned, you all are fantastic. Remember, we will be back for our show that starts for the season in a month, guys. One more month. And then you're going to have to deal with me all the time, really.
And who doesn't want that, Kevin?
Everybody wants that. Awesome. Well, hey, guys, any other closing thoughts from you all? John, start with you, man.
I mean, I'm pumped for training camp. I know I'll see you guys there at least one day, so that'll be exciting. It'd be good to get back to football, even if it is a practice. Yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to next from the Broncos.
Like it. David, what you got, man?
I'm twisting your guys' arm about YouTube again because I didn't think you got the message last time. Now, I think you guys are really going to love what we're doing on YouTube these days. We've got content for you every single day. We've got shorts. We've got longs. We've got mediums, guys. Does anybody else have mediums? I don't know. And if they do, they're not as good as ours. Anyway, subscribe, like, share us. Head over to YouTube because we're going to have so much content for you for the rest of the offseason and going into the season as well. And again, special shout out, Perry, Team Puffball, also, just amazing. Go
industry term.
Yes.
Great
play.
Awesome,
you guys.
Oh, and if you are going to training camp, we're going to be out there for the first day of training camp as well as some of the other days throughout there. So send us a message if you're going to training camp, and we'll look out for you as well. But we're going to be out there getting some video, hanging out, watching the team practice, and getting ready for the season. It's going to be awesome. But
yes.
Well, guys, I think it's time to end it.
About that time, boys.
About that time. End it as we always do on a very strong Go Broncos.
Go Broncos.
Take care, everyone. We'll see you soon.